welcome to GlideFast On Air. Today's webinar, 4 Reasons People Report on Old, Unreliable Data and How to Fix It. I'm Lauren Jankowski, the Marketing Specialist here at GlideFast, and I'll be moderating today's webinar. I'm very excited to announce to you today's presenters, Jared Shafton, the Director of IT at GlideFast Consulting, and Robert Fedorik, the Chief Experience Officer at VividCharts. Before we get started, we'd like to give you some background information on GlideFast. GlideFast Consulting is a consulting firm that is dedicated exclusively to ServiceNow. As an Elite ServiceNow Partner, our expert team of developers and architects have worked on both sides of the table, on the customer side and the consulting side. Our company was founded by ServiceNow architects, and we're proud to have a team of over 100 experienced consultants. We have an average CSAT score of a 9.6 and many more accolades, as you can see here. We'll be monitoring the Q&A throughout today's session, so please send in any questions as they arise, and we'll do our best to answer them. Now I'd like to hand it over to Rob so he can tell you a little bit about VividCharts.
Hi, I'm Rob Fedorik with VividCharts. VividCharts is a data presentation platform that sits directly in your ServiceNow instance. It's built on ServiceNow with ServiceNow components. And we're going to ask you to stop creating manual presentations that use ServiceNow data and start automating the storytelling. VividCharts was founded in 2018. We shortly thereafter won the 2019 Creator Con. We have a 200% customer growth year over year. We are a ServiceNow Elite Tech Partner. We have a 5-star rating and the 3rd highest number of reviews on the ServiceNow store. And we've saved our customers over 50,000 hours.
As another perk of attending today's webinar, we'll be giving away a $50 Visa gift card to someone that stays on until the end. So make sure you wait till the very end and we'll announce that winner.
I'd like to stress, if any of you certify on VividCharts in May, we'll also send you a bright neon Yeti mug, which is thoroughly awesome.
Now we'd like to hand things over to our presenters, Jared and Rob, to dive in.
So thanks, Lauren. So who are we? I'm Jared Shafton. I'm the Director of IT at GlideFast Consulting. I've been a ServiceNow developer for over 6 years, implemented countless number of modules, as well as created a whole bunch of custom apps.
And I'm Robert Fedorik, Chief Experience Officer with VividCharts. I've done a lot of things in my 12-year tenure with the ServiceNow platform, and I'm just really happy to have just two presenters on this call that collectively have about 20 years of ServiceNow experience with them.
So today's agenda, we're going to talk about how we use data. Is data an operational necessity or a strategic asset? The 4 reasons why people justify the labor and risk of pulling data out of the platform. What are the alternatives, which is going to be your introduction to VividCharts platform. The customer experiences that VividCharts has seen, as well as where GlideFast sees opportunities in the market, and the partnership between VividCharts and GlideFast. So let's kick it off, Rob. Tell us a little bit about operational necessity or strategic asset.
All right. So in 12 years in the ServiceNow ecosystem, I've helped a lot of customers and I've built a lot of applications. But one thing I just kept on coming back to was that the efforts that we undertake to put this stuff into ServiceNow, they have to have a payoff. And there's a reason why we're running all these processes in ServiceNow. And when I started, it was just ITSM, but now it's ITBM, it's SecOps, it's governance, risk, and compliance, it's HR. There's so many more processes that we're running in ServiceNow. There's a reason why we're building all of our custom applications there. There's a reason we're managing and governing more and more work on the ServiceNow platform. And it's my belief, based off of my time in the ecosystem, that those reasons should be made manifest by your reporting. It doesn't work on its own. It's the reporting that tells you the story of what you're doing. So I've always wondered, customer to customer, if the data is being treated as an operational necessity, meaning I'm just going through the motions, I'm putting the data in the system in the proper way because the business rules are going to run and then everything's going to get taken care of. Or is the data being treated as a strategic asset? Meaning, am I able to, when I say strategically, what I mean is ServiceNow providing a strategic insight into our processes and our process improvement initiatives? Or is ServiceNow providing us with really good information upon which to make strategic decisions. Now, I've always wanted my customers to be in the latter camp, that strategic camp. I want them using reporting to tell the story of their ServiceNow implementation and really validate the value of all those efforts. So I joined Vivid Charts really to scratch that itch, because Vivid Charts to me was the biggest lever that I could find to elevate reporting and storytelling across the ServiceNow ecosystem. So when I first got to Vivid Charts, the first thing we did was we sent a survey out to ServiceNow customers, and we had just about 200 respondents, and we learned some really interesting numbers. So we learned that 79% of them view the reliability of ServiceNow data as critically important, meaning I can't even do business if I don't think that this data is reliable. 79%, basically everybody who matters. Okay, 55% said that over half of their reports are being exported. So over half of the ServiceNow ecosystem takes over half of their reports as data out of ServiceNow. And you might say at that point, well, so what? Like, is that even a big problem? Well, if you consider how much effort it's taking them to extract and manipulate that data so they can have a quote unquote report, on average, case by case, our respondents were saying 74 hours a month. So that's 74 hours for ITSM reporting. That's 74 hours for HR reporting. That's 74 hours per month ITBM reporting. This is the act of taking the reports for each of those processes, extracting them, manipulating them, representing them. And I found that there's a real tension there. Like if I'm saying, gosh, the report is, the reliability is critically important, but at the same time, I'm pulling 74, I'm pulling data out of it to the tune of 74 hours a month. That's tension. That means I'm not getting my reliability, because what really happens when you pull data out of ServiceNow? It stops being reliable. It can change. It doesn't get updated with the normal update. So if you imagine half of your reports going out, immediately we're losing the liability that the stakeholders want, and we're spending 74 hours a month. Instead of that, imagine if only 10% of your reports needed exporting, only 5% of your data needed exporting. Imagine instead of 74 hours per month, imagine 7 hours per month. Think of all the extra time you could do with that. You're a busy person, you're a ServiceNow champion. What do you want to do with ServiceNow, and how could you use that time? So what's GlideFast thoughts on these numbers, Jared?
Those numbers are pretty staggering. I mean, the other thing to consider, you touched on it briefly. Once that data leaves the system, not only is it old, but it's also less secure. Where does it go from there? ServiceNow is a SaaS-based platform. You can access ServiceNow most instances from any computer in the world. So you can go on your personal PC, download that data, and export it out of the system. And who knows where it goes? You mentioned that GRC, HR, all of these, high visibility departments are now using this platform. And if people are going in and taking this data out, where does it go, and whose hands does it end up in?
It's a huge sacrifice to reliability, isn't it? So it's not, I can't even trust what the data says, but now I can't trust where the data is. Exactly.
And that's from my point of view is really concerning. What happens to that data? So we know that 79% of people say that it's critically important that that data is reliable. Over half of the people export half their reports, and they spend a whole bunch of time doing it. But the real question is, why are they doing it?
We know there's a tension, right? We're spending a ton of hours taking it out of the system, knowing that sacrifices the reliability that the stakeholders crave. Why am I doing that? And the answers are actually pretty sound. Okay, 57% say that they need better calculations and formulations, and so you see this all the time in ServiceNow reporting if you do it long enough. You just wish you could take a number that you've got in ServiceNow and multiply it by something else in the context of a report, or do some kind of math on it. I got a price, I want to do a tax, and I want to model tax against 3 different countries. How much value has my service desk provided? Well, wouldn't it be nice to just take the number of incidents that have been created and multiply that by whatever Gartner says the cost per ticket is today? Maybe I want to model different labor rates on my projects, but the cost plans and resource plans are already built. Why can't I just run formulas against those cost plans and see what they would look like at a 20% reduction? Why can't I express the savings of every run of an automated workflow in dollars? This is something one of our customers did after they got Vivid Charts, but they spent a ton of time automating workflows, and so they wanted to just have a ticker that just, they knew what savings they were getting per run of the workflow, so they just wanted a ticker to keep scrolling with the savings. Why can't we do that? Why can't we have these formulas in ServiceNow? 49% said that they need to they needed better slide deck experiences. And so this is where we talk about the personas of reporting. So the operator persona, they just need a list of work and what to do next. They're the people actually processing the tickets. So they don't need a whole lot of analysis. They just need to know which of these is the most important to do. The analysts are the one that are trying to find the story, and they got some good tools in ServiceNow with reporting and performance analytics to find out where the trends are, what the story is. But what happens when you have that story and you need to present it to the CIO, or even in the MSP cases, an external customer, or really just important stakeholders? Those people want a simple presentation interface so that they can distill the story for the audience. So they're going to come up to their audience and say, here's a number that showcases the problem that we're having. Here's our solution. Here's how much it's going to cost. They don't go to the stakeholders with big, huge, sprawling analytic interfaces. They want slide deck experiences. That never happens in ServiceNow. And back when I was a ServiceNow customer, both times, I was taking my reports of my performance up the line in PowerPoint, because I needed my best foot forward in a storytelling experience. And speaking about best foot forward, another 49% of our audience said that they needed better aesthetic control. If I'm going to tell that story of my data, and this is going to resonate with the MSPs in the audience out there, if I'm going to put my data in front of a really important decision maker, possibly an external one, I want it to look, act, and feel like my brand, don't I? I don't want it to look like it just came out of some third-party tool. I want it to look like it is a piece of my IP. My reporting on my performance is my IP. Lastly, but certainly not least, 34% of our audience said that they needed a better mechanism to distribute their reports. So we see this all the time in ITBM and project status. I got this great project status report, which is awesome when it's the PMO looking at it, but frequently what we find is we have all kinds of stakeholders that are outside the PMO, and they don't interact with ServiceNow in what we would conventionally call a licensed user. They're just people who are so supremely interested in that project that we want to get a status report in front of them. So people are asking for distribution mechanisms that don't depend on licensed user interfaces or custom portal solutions every single time. And so for these 4 reasons, people are justifiably spending that 74 hours a month per process to get the data out of the ServiceNow. These are the reasons why people are sacrificing that reliability, but it doesn't have to be that way. Okay, so what do the numbers look like after people use Vivid Charts, okay, to solve for those 4 reasons why? Okay, so we have a large Midwest fintech institution, and they had a CTO that was expecting an asset refresh report every period. They were managing like 8 figures in assets, and every quarter they needed to know, and every month they needed to know what was coming up for refresh. And could we make a strategic decision, like, can we just put off this refresh for this cycle? What risk do we get exposed to, and how much more money will we have to spend on the next cycle? These are big, important strategic decisions that can be powered by ServiceNow data, okay? But the before picture was this horrendous Excel monster report that took the ServiceNow admin there the better part of the entire month to prep. So forget doing cool ServiceNow builds. This was export the data, get it the way we massage it the way we want for presentation, right? And in the meantime, people are asking you and asking you and asking you about the data. The other terrible thing about this situation was the data is extracted at the first of the month. Guess when the CTO meeting is? 30th of the month. That data has been extracted and going stale and growing mold and cobwebs for 30 days. It is not reliable. But with Vivid Charts automating that report, first of all, they saw a 90% reduction, a 90% labor savings. So it's gone from, I have to spend my entire month building this report to 1 hour a month executing the report. Okay, and because that report is now in ServiceNow on the Vivid Charts platform, we have 100% data accuracy whenever you want it. So instead of only on the 30th of the month, 12 times a year, being able to see a report with month-old data in it, now I can go to that report whenever I want. Sorry, me, the CTO can go to that report whenever he wants, and it's 100% accurate whenever he runs it. And that came out to a savings of 1,728 hours. So I forgot to mention from my survey slide that I thought that 74 hours per month was probably a little understated. So 1,700 hours reclaimed for this large Midwest financial institution on one use case. And I'm going to say that over and over and over again through the rest of the presentation, on one use case. Now, Vivid Charts customers go from one use case to 3 in a hurry, and then 3 to 5, and now we're starting to see our customers go from 5 to 10. You can fully fund a Vivid Charts implementation on one use case, but there are as many use cases as you can imagine in your own organizations. All right, we'll talk about another one. Okay, this was at a digital infrastructure provider, and they're an MSP, so they had a quarterly business review and a monthly business review that they did with many of their clients. And those reports were immense, dozens of slides, and very complicated metrics on them. And so of a team of 4 ServiceNow developers, 3 were dedicated to the QBR MBR process full time. So when you know, because it was that important, it's basically their face to the customer and making sure that the data that they're providing the customer is correct, because their performance is their product. Okay, so when we put Vivid Charts behind that, they had a 75% capacity increase, because all of a sudden 3 of those 4 FTEs could now do like actual ServiceNow work, the ServiceNow work we all, you know, go to sleep thinking about and wake up, you know, dying to get to grips to, solving new problems, because they weren't tied down doing all the manual report extraction and manipulation. 80% effort reduction. So it would generally take these 3 FTEs weeks out of the month to prep, and we reduced that to hours out of the month to prep, for a total of 5,760 hours reclaimed. Again, one use case. 1 turns to 3, 3 turns to 5, and now we're seeing 5 turn to 10. Now, Jared, do you guys see opportunities from your side of the house?
Yeah, definitely. You know, we know of a real estate management company that's $29 billion real estate management company who every month they would spend hours to create a PowerPoint slide for their CIO. It's a 2-hour presentation. They would generate the reports, export them from ServiceNow. It would take 5 senior level people about 2 to 3 days a month to put this report together. Comes out to be about 1,440 hours. And that's just one case where I think Vivid Charts could really come in handy. We have another one, and this one's really gonna blow all your numbers out of the water, Rob. I mean, you said 74 hours a month. There's a large telecom company that we've done work with that has service managers. Each one of them is assigned 1 or more customers, and each one of those customers requires a set of reports at a different frequency and a different report. So the customer defines the reports that they're looking for, the frequency of the reports, and to your point before, the aesthetic and the control of those reports needs to be there as well. They have 3,000 service managers. They spend about 3 hours per report per customer. So let that sink in a little bit. 3,000 service managers with 3 hours per report per customer, and they all have more than one customer. Even if they only had one customer, you're talking about 9,000 hours a month, but they have more. That's thousands and thousands of hours. So it's really an insane potential that you have with one use case with Vivid Charts, potentially. It's pretty astounding.
Okay, so we know that, so now that we know those 4 whys, right? We know that almost 80% of people need it to be reliable. We know that they're paying a shocking price and sacrificing that reliability to get those reports done. And we know that they're doing it because they need higher degree of aesthetic control, more calculations and formulations, in a slide deck interface with better distribution. Now you're probably curious about how that solution actually comes into play. And one thing with the time we have, it is difficult to create kind of an aesthetically pleasing build out. So we've handpicked some of our Vivid Charts dashboard builds that you can see here. And I'm sure you're anxious, as being senior decision makers and architects and devs, I'm sure you're anxious to come to grips with this. So what we're going to encourage you to do is reach out and get your own personalized, customized demonstration of the Vivid Charts platform. And we think if you can spend 45 minutes with GlideFast and Vivid Charts, we can show you how to recoup, 4,000 hours. So there's lots and lots of return on investment available here.
And that's really why GlideFast is excited to be partnering with Vivid Charts.
Yeah, and Vivid Charts too is really excited to partner with GlideFast. GlideFast is an elite partner in ServiceNow services. Everybody who knows what they're doing on ServiceNow knows GlideFast, but GlideFast has been first to the fore, first to adopt our technology, first to start taking it to its customer base. They have over 4 times more certified resources than other partners, and they're just very great to have as a partner.
We're excited for this partnership, Rob. Make sure you guys contact your GlideFast sales rep today and go to vividcharts.com/training to become certified. As Rob mentioned, if you get certified in May, they're sending out Yeti mugs. So with that, let's open up to some Q&A.
Awesome. Looks like we do have a question right now. So I'm thinking, Rob, you can answer this. If we make a really pretty dashboard in Vivid Charts, is it exportable to a PDF?
Yes, it is. I'm not sure how much experience you have exporting in ServiceNow, but rarely is there an interface in ServiceNow where when you export it to PDF, it actually looks like the thing that you tried to export. Vivid Charts are nearly pixel perfect. So what you see in the dashboard, you have that higher degree of aesthetic control. So you've invested the time and energy to make it look like your brand, or at least look awesome. And when it exports to PDF, it does look awesome. And it is an area where we continue to invest. I can't say for certain, but we are planning for the next version to have some kind of export to PowerPoint capability as well.
Awesome. Looks like we have another question here. Can Vivid Charts be used for any of the applications in ServiceNow?
Yeah, I never would have got behind this product if it didn't have that kind of like across the board horizontal element to it. So yes, Vivid Charts, all it cares is, can I see the data? So you can report off of ITSM, HR, GRC, anything that comes packaged with ServiceNow, any table, plus any tables that you've created yourself.
And I can speak to that. At GlideFast, we use ServiceNow for our entire business. And we're using Vivid Charts now for our CRM, which is a custom built application. So you can really use it for anything in the platform.
Awesome. Looks like we have another question here. David asked, and since you discussed it, you can create calculated fields.
Yes. So the calculated fields can be as simple as kind of just aggregates. So you pick the table, you pick the field, you pick the aggregation type and the rounding. Or you can pick a score from a performance analytics sheet. Or you can create your own scripted formulas. And that's where we see kind of the most innovative solutions coming out for Vivid Charts at the moment. So we do make it nice and easy to make these highly aesthetic controlled dashboards, but in several places we also allow you to just drop right to the code layer. So if you can express it in JavaScript in that formula, then the formula is yours. And actually, just between you and me and anybody else who might be listening on the call, this is kind of a clever way to also retrieve data from other platforms. So if I was, if I had a report in ServiceNow, I had a visualization that somehow needed, part of that calculation was being stored in some other system. Because the formula can be expressed just in JavaScript, there's no reason why I can't use ServiceNow to make a REST call, come back, get the information, and integrate it into the calculation.
Awesome. Well, that looks like all the questions that we had for today. So now I'd like to announce the winner.
We get another one?
Oh, they keep coming in. We don't have performance analytics subscription. Can we still get Vivid Charts dashboards?
Absolutely, you can. I love performance analytics. It is an awesome analyst interface. We love when our customers do have it, but you do not need it. So we have around 60 visualizations to ServiceNow's 30, and some of those visualizations are specifically primed for PA, but again, you don't need it.
Awesome. Well, I guess now we can announce the winner of our $50 gift card, and it looks like the winner is David Nottingham. Congratulations, David. We'll email you your prize directly. But don't worry, if you didn't win today, don't be discouraged. We are giving away a grand prize of a mirror workout. It is a $1,500 value, and every GlideFast or Farracode on-air webinar that you attend gives you an entry into this grand prize giveaway. And I'd like to thank you all for attending today's webinar. We hope you enjoyed it. And if you still have any more questions, feel free to reach out to Jared Chafton or Robert Fedoric through email or on LinkedIn. And to see any more sessions, visit glidefast.com/GlideFast on air. Thank you. We hope you all have a great day.